Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of The Good Days Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we were to explore the experiment place with Gina and Gregson. This episode, we're gonna continue, hopefully, our last episode of exploration before our trial. Hopefully. Let's do Madame Tusspells. 22nd of October, Madame Tusspells Museum of Waxworks. That looks... What the heck is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. Why are the people so still? Those are wax, isn't it? Guillotines? Rootless murderers? You know what? I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. They are amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Uno? Shocked? Wax models? Ah! For fuck's sakes, I read about dead bodies in wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how its corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called a adipose... What? I don't understand that word at all. Stop talking about that creepy things like that, Uno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocere doesn't really form readily, you know? Ah! What now? I've just remembered something else I read. In another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them! They look so real! Oh. There's no way anyone can make models of people that are just realist. And they're all such gruesome see. Why is he there? Wait. This fucker. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Alright. Let me, let's explore around somewhere else, can we? Is this some infamous murderer? Yet called Jane the Ripper. You mean Jack the Ripper? All her victims were young women. I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer. Well, yes. Ah! What's the matter, you know? I worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can soak her victims' gore. I think the last time I saw something like that was L.A. Noire. Yeah, fun game that was, at least. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, I don't think it's significant. I still think it has to be there for a reason. Jesus. That is very, gruesome, I guess. What else is this? That big heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling that there's gonna be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Tusspells special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want me to pay the extra fee? And have a look? Pay more money to be even more terrified? Ooh, let me think about that for a moment. It was only a suggestion. That hand sticks out there. Is this an arm? Oh no. It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the Waxworks model has fallen over. You don't think it could be work of one of the mass murderers in here? Uno, stop scaring me. Is it a wax arm or a real one? That's the... Oh, come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm down, see how it feels. Objection! Objection! Okay. These models are so well made, I can't tell what's waxwork or what's real human. Or maybe all exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time and all the visitors have gone home, they suddenly start moving about. Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. You fucker. Oh, that's a funny place for a little ladder. What is it? Something wrong? Nah, it's that in Japanese we totally have a different word for a ladder that folds in half like that. We do in English too, you know. It's a step ladder, or just steps. So be careful making some assumptions about other cultures, Uno. That's how wars are started. Oh, believe me. I didn't realize stepladders were an international point of contention, but the writer makes an astute point. Is this an example of Western Tsuchurigi? I don't know what that is. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword? I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it? Do you think, Uno? Doing that CG thing you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of how sharp it is on a human object for now, at least. I must be hallucinating. You fucker. It's... the great detective Herlock Sholmes! Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? Oh my god! He still hasn't realized it! Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know. But look, Uno, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle. Can't go around kicking the exhibits. I'm dying right now. He actually got hurt. Ah, wait. It just moved, I'm sure. Not just a little bit either. Really? Did it? And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of the waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy, much more appealing. Oh, my dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner if you're seeing something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes, I knew it. I already knew it, but... Iris, what possessed you? I should thank you for making me divulge my temporary waxwork secret, Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary wax? What do you mean? In that kick, can you not exercise a little more restraint? You winded me. But Uno has something he needs to ask of you. Ah, question. I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny your timing was impeccable. Mere 2 minutes more of being stationary like that. My great brain upon which all my success has been built would have been turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? He can know something, it's true, about Lord Von Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. I could be of assistance. For you're in luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. My eyes don't deceive me. I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum, a most fascinating case if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter which you've come to me now. But how could it be? I shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. For now, I must return to my work. Wait, what? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? What is this place? Madame Tusspells came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed to a great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism models is a particular secret to Tusspells' family, they say. They are renowned for the French Revolution for the waxwork victims of the guillotine. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes that were portrayed with such realism in the percussions of the face of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses right there at the site of the execution. That really turns my stomach. I just wanted the several legends about the Tusspells family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of Japanese famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, most people are area of the museum to quite some margin. This is House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are now dwindling as a result of the Great Exhibition. But people usually flock to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they even sniffing out of the models of them. Haven't you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public life for poor taste? They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideout exhibits in here are... They're all portrayed as the real events that actually took place. Or is it just me, or the temperature in here just seemed to drop? Anyway, I advise you to not think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? Well, temporary waxwork. What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them. Every half an hour I come on in a whole different killer, and one of the displays adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When the public comes for a closer look, I offer my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money? He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have having this iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. We're poor. If it's something to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. See, ready to rope me into now. So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As with a special treat, you may have your pick up the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Ignore me at your peril. Is it just me, or does final remark there sound like a curse? Well, what is it like to ask me then? Actually, it's, about Lord Von Zeeks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper, how did you find him? Well, I trust. And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I learned. About Lord Von Zeeks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they even had at the university together. Wondering what happened to make Lord Von Zeeks such a different person. I was sure I let you know, Hurley. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, but that was afoot. But you believe it was related to what I wanted to ask you about? Mr. Sholmes, he suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems that we reached the Greetings. Hello? Where the hell did she appear from? And what is she wearing? Could she even look any more mysterious? I hope you're appreciating my museum. Sorry, have we met? Sholmes, you know this fucker. Not again. This fucker. Oops. Apologies. My name is Esmeralda Tusspells. This is my museum of waxwork. You're the Madame Tusspells? Bien, sir. Though only 26 years young, I might add. Isn't that significant somehow? She looks pretty cute, by the way. I'm a madam in name only. It adds to a certain je ne sais quoi. I never thought I had to say that phrase. Je ne sais quoi. Okay. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks. Or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time we move from your designated exhibit, we'll be toil and trouble. She sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Schultz about Lord Von Zeeks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before. Something about being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but... I'm so curious, I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Did you wake all these waxworks, Madame Tusspells? I did. I'm the third generation of the waxwork artisans, you know. Oh gosh! It was my great-grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Their fortunes were secured, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though as when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to astonishing lifelikeness. Oh, and these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. Hee. What you see is exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All these waxworks are creating the presence of the real people in which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions, that is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence must go to extraordinary lengths. Exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is only one in the museum with such macabre theme. I do hope you explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians, something for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here. Come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should ease you into things. Great Detective Waxwork. What's the situation with that? My temporary waxwork model? He approached me with some days ago, you see. What a business proposal. Oh, what sort of proposal? Ah, my dear madam, what of these spar exhibits? Need addition of a world-famous detective? Or words to that effect. Ha. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective. It's a great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services. For a mere price of £500, I will dive deep into your cauldron of Max this very moment. Or words to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead. Sure, he doesn't really need to know what he's doing though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50-shilling problem. That must be resolved in the morning. For fuck's sake, Sholmes. Or words to that effect. Oh, it's a pawnbroker. That's what it is. You must have something to redeem. Is it the consulting detective work not going so well? I wonder, could I ask you something? Bien, sir. I'm just curious, is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was... your temporary waxworker who mentioned it to me a little. Oh, he disappeared! Wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. Oh, there you are! Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down? No, no! My dear Madam Tusspells, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why, ever not? She's turned as white as a sheet. Does he have at your disposal a great detective whose service you may employ for a mere 50 shillings? Though please beware, I prefer no. I insist upon payment in advance. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What prays behind the curtain? That is the Tusspells special exhibit. There's an extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. I must have picked a special curio there, I presume. Would you be so kind to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Absolute none. There's nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madam. What about the yarn protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a soup con. What is this? Number 139. I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. Tusspells' special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killers would expect nowhere to be seen. One does strike one, however. Is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor? The fuck? Well, well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, the man on the floor is the rootless killer himself? I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact. Nani? As skillfully made as those waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from humans. So allow me to present you with two conclusions. The first, the sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. Huh? She looks as pale as a candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madam Tusspells, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective temporarily exhibit at work. Oh no. Oh, deduction! The game is afoot. Here we go. Waxworks Fate. Topic number 1. To begin here, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. By my estimation, 200 pounds. That is my own money. So what does that large sum reveal? As not as much as an involuntary glance you cast, it seems Madam Tusspells. Yes, the answer lies where her eyes now fall. The significance of 200 pounds is revealed by that public notice. The fuck? Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds. None. Now let us explore the next curiosity which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out in this peacefully on the floor? It appeared that the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Huh. Unfortunate madam, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It appeared that you twisted the gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? He agreed to rashly purchase this waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. And only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene was seen before us. He collapsed in shock. Ah, yes, the killer is in the special exhibit. Fetch a killer price. I can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. In conclusion, sold for cash. Waxwork location. The question arises then, what has become the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his necker brace, such as worn by the police as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. This young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? That man's quite a celebrity. He's received triple accolades at last year's Policing Awards. But next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particular unsightly visage. I've been watching closely. He hasn't moved a muscle. Almost in fact, if he were a waxwork. But you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madam. I noticed it once before. Observe. And a telltale sign instantly proves whether or not this man was a waxwork with an obvious price tag. Threepence? A tragically low price? A low price, you might say? Perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks? And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madam? I do not. Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in a special exhibit and not a moment too soon. In conclusion, discovered already. You're a genius. You're a genius. Thus includes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of his horrifying puzzle. You're a genius. Surely you must be a genius. What's the poor whack? I see you stun you all into silence. You have, Hurley. You have. And you obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes. The notorious Naruhodo 1 point of all deaf ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that would mean he's a particular ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Ottermole. Sorry? It was mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether. And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, senior officer by the name of Ottermole. So you mean that's the sinister-looking old man that there is supposed to be? Indeed, it was a particularly grim face, was it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. But his own 200 pounds, a lot of wax for a wax model. It'll be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages if that puts things in perspective. So it is quite a lot then. She's still mad. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down? No? Rip Sholmes. That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. Some smell of all that molten wax is starting to worry me. Why don't we fix it then? Sholmes did more or less accuse her to her face. So, I think I might have to call you on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. Make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deduction. Of course it's alright, let's soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tusspells vents her anger. So what is waiting for, my dear fellow? So, Madame Tusspells, in accordance with our agreement, we shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously decorated and temporary exhibit at work. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright, we're gonna skip a lot of this. Yep. The money. Blah blah blah. 200 pounds. Where lies now fall, okay? Is the significance of 200 pounds revealed by the public notice? No. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. I'm definitely not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for 200 pounds. Oh? She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money, I would. But sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance. Let's follow that furtive glance and see if there's anything else that could explain it. Waxwork for sale? Would anyone really buy models of mass murderers? I'd rather have 200 pounds in my pocket. Exactly, you could buy one of those brand new types of steam carriage. That's what I'd spend it on if I had it, no question. Ooh, I'd buy all the herbs in the world. There's another explanation for the money. We need to keep looking. Na 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 na. I know it's gonna be that thing right over there. Portly man. Seems this well-dressed gentleman is alive after all, not just alive and kicking. He's not a waxwork or modern mass murderer. I paid £200. I'm not sure I paid £200 for him. I don't think the man's up for sale. Anyway, it was a silly place to put him. Other museum visitors could easily trip. I don't think the man was put up there on purpose either. If we're being honest here. What's that note doing on the pin wall there? Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madam Tusspells, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is £200. Well, that was an easy answer. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October. Nani? This is the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. Ransom money. It's a ransom note. Exactly. Wow. Dear Madam Tusspells, taking the prisoner, blah blah blah. Price for his safe return, £200. Have money ready by noon, blah blah. Can't deny that's a very well written ransom note, clear and concise. The ransom amount is £200. Let the yee-hoo! The significance of the £200 is revealed by that ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting the waxwork. £200 was no small ransom fee, and you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question has special importance, so I put it together all the money I have. In summary then, the £200 you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now let us explore the next curiosity which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched so piercefully on the floor? It would appear that the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which will be clearly known to you. Fortunately, mannequin cases doesn't appear to be your forte. What dealt the man with such a shocking was, of course, the £200. Oh no, obviously. Well, if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of this deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock, that much seems clear. In that case, what Miss Adams Tusspells trying to hide, let's have a closer look around. So she prepared to pay all that money to get her waxwork back again? You must really have a very special model. Of a mass murderer, just how much special of a model can a ruthless killer be? Well, anyway, we can be fairly sure that the man lying on the floor didn't take it. So you should leave him in peace. The fuck is this? This is just Madame Tusspells' right hand, isn't it? Yeah, it must be, but you can clearly see her. You must be, but clear see her left hand after all. Oh, but wait a minute. This is the left hand as well. Look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax? Waxwork hand. Yeah, she was hiding that. Must be blah blah blah. It's very stiff, it's really hard, blah blah blah, you mean? Okay. Is there anything else that I should be aware? Long hair braid. Madame Tusspells has a very long hair, doesn't she? Yes, but you can tell by looking at her from the front. You know, it looks rather like a whip, don't you think? The sort of whip that could have floored a gentleman with a single crack. That seems a little far-fetched, but even for you, Bruno. Alright, boys. I guess we figured out the waxwork hand. What dealt the man with such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with his solid waxwork limb, he could deliver a very substantial blow. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand. And so masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madam. It's the hand of a waxwork model. Yeah. Jesus. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They need to meddle with the exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small no small keepsake, like taking a whole branch from a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I'm afraid I have to teach the man a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, he was seen before us. He was knocked unconscious, the point we need to revisit later. For the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, that the killer is in special exhibit has been kidnapped. Kidnapped. Oh. Alright, finally get to topic 2. Question arises then, what has become of the waxwork that changed the hands? Let's consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What really strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? The answer? We need only to observe. His neckerchief. No. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is assigned to other policemen that crime is underway. Way of communicating his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard. Damn Scotland Yard. Well, Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Uncovering secrets any true natures, of course. Right, anyway, judging from Madame Tusspells' reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we may not have identified quite correctly. Secret scarp can only be worn other agents of an ongoing crime. I know, it sounds like so thrilling, doesn't it? He'll try to work into the next month's installment. But the police secret will be revealed to all 6 million inhabitants. We'll just have to come up with a new sign, I suppose. How does this 10-year-old manage to have such terrifying influence? Flat cap. I've seen hats like this in Japan as well. They're calling flat caps, aren't they? Oh yes, hunting caps. Hurley's hat is called a deer stalker, by the way. Hunting stalking. The British certainly seem keen on catching game. Every time I see a deer stalker, I automatically think of Mr. Sholmes. But a flat cap makes me think of a Japanese country gentleman somehow. In other words, people from all walks of life wear all different types of hats, so that doesn't really help us. Yeah, the removable arm, the shoulder stub. What the? The man has a stub sticking out to show where his arm should be. Ah, well, that settles it then. Right, this isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped out from shoulder down. His arm's been. Of course, that ties with what we just found out. Easy. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only to observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can reassure you. In other words, the man standing to here, young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds with a Maxwick model. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, yes. He has quite become a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 Holocene Awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally, what other explanation could there be? It was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we turn our attention to the old man set before him with a particular unsightly visage. I've been watching closely as he had moved muscle, almost in fact, as if he were a waxwork. But with you, your action only confirms my suspicions, madam. No said at once, of course. Observe. The telltale incident proves whether or not this old man's a waxworker's obvious price tag. A killer policeman. Called Ottermo, was it? Was he well known? It was over in a newspaper last year, so I can't say what he looks like. But the very low price, though, threepence isn't much money. Only enough for a few musy hours of gas in Mr. Garrett's delightful lodgings, in fact. So there's a special killer taking from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds? Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermo? Really? Perhaps we should have a good look around again to see if another deer crops up. £3 is a far cry from 200 pounds, isn't it? For threepence, you can buy it and put it on display in your room, Uno. I think I'd rather not go to sleep being watched by an old man if that's all the same to you. This price tag does stand out, doesn't it? I mean, you couldn't even buy the helmet on his head for that much money, I don't think. I do wonder what the price tag's really for, then. What the fuck? His legs. I don't believe it. It's a secret sign to let other detectives know that criminal activity is underway. Yes, it's a slightly changed choice if he was trying to go unnoticed. He must be a detective disguised as a policeman. Or a detective disguised as a waxwork model of a policeman. He doesn't look like he's clever enough to think about something like that, though. Perhaps you should try to be a little more polite about him, Iris. Oh my god, he's that's a real person. Twitch! Twitch! It's Twitch chat! Hey, look at this. Old man's foot is tapping like crazy. Must be fast asleep, though. He's not tapping his foot consciously, then, so you mean? It must be a twitch. Never mind that. The point is, waxworkers don't tap their feet. Or twitch. And look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we? The telltale sign that instantly proves that whether or not this old man's waxer is an obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxers do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, a splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then. And there you have it. Well, Madam Tusspells. Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. You sound asleep. But then, what's this tag-along showing a price tag of 3 pence? Ah, no doubt the price tag of a muffler, which the old Bobby recently purchased at a local market. I presume you observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the secret sign used by detectives show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning. State detective. It would seem that we finally arrived at the truth. That the waxwork, the specially rootless killer for the accessory, has been kidnapped. Damn. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Herlockstrom's great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. And the conclusion, still a mystery. And deduction complete. Elementary. Pog. Well, all sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. If ever anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. Oh, it was a pleasure, my dear madam. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. As if for your rough customer, I have no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. Concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, as if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically, it was. I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. As much as detail as possible, if you please. Very well, but after I told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. The talents of a great detective could be better to put use, I feel, but as you wish. Alright. Stolen waxwork. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that the waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. Oh yes, your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. So this waxwork was stolen. It was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. But why? A particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. What? The Professor? Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruto, it seems that the circle's complete. Sorry. The Professor case happened around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed, it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders had rocketed the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, exactly the time. That Baruch von Zeke's graduated from the university, in fact. Nani? Surely he's not sane. So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life? As you've surmised, it was the Professor case. Oh, shoot. Who was this Professor, then? The Professor. It was a series of gruesome murders that had all London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction. I don't understand. How is this related to Lord Von Zeeks? You must first understand, my dear friend, why is it that the Professor earned such infamy? It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Members of the nobility and even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the... wait, of course. Professor Harebrained said, Lord Von Zeeks is a family of noble blood. Oh gosh. It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. Last of the killer's prey was a young noble of the name of... Clint Von Zeeks? Oh, shit. No. I don't believe it. Von Zeeks? I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the youngest Brock pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. I had no idea Lord Von Zeeks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I could say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit. Well, I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Damn. A lot of info to know. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involve you coming to visit me here. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barack. It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forget myself what happened to Mr. Azmed. I can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow, the court will decide. Yes. I'm a young Eastern man acting for my defense. It seems reliable enough, though. It was an accent, a terrible accent. He assures me he can prove it. I must warn you. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be the prosecutor, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned to England, I heard a lot of stories. Barack, are you really? Nunny. Never mind. I know you have your best interests at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barack. Until then, tomorrow, I'll see you in court. Oh man. And so, we have finished the investigation of case number 3. Damn, that was a long investigation. But yeah, I think that'll be it for today's episode. Next time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, we're gonna continue with this case. Hopefully come to the conclusion as well as we start the trial. I guess I'll see you guys all next time.